Long time ago, in a small village called Igboro-Ekun near Abeokuta, the elders did something very evil. There was a good farmer named Oro. He never stole anything. He was innocent. But the king's son wanted Oro's land. So the elders grabbed Oro one night. They dragged him to a big anthill outside the village. They buried him alive. They stuffed his mouth with red earth and palm leaves so no one could hear his screams. Then they covered him with soil and walked away. The ground took him. 3 nights later, everything changed forever. At sunset, a deep drum began to beat, bum, bum, bum. It was slow and heavy, like a heart that refused to die. From that night, one rule became stronger than iron. When the sun goes down, nobody must go outside. Not even for water. Not even if your child is crying. Not even if you hear your own name. Every house must keep a special relic. It is a small clay pot buried halfway in the floor of the sitting room. Inside the pot they put 3 things: 1 black cowrie shell, a piece of the same anthill where Oro was buried, and the dry tongue of the elder who told the biggest lie. The pot is sealed with chicken blood. As long as the tongue stays dry, Oro cannot enter the house. But the village is now trapped. If you try to leave in the morning, the road turns you round and brings you back to the same village by evening. The paths have forgotten the way out. Anyone who enters can never leave again. The people are prisoners of the man they killed. Every night, when the sun dies, the drum starts again, bum, bum, bum. And Oro walks. He is no longer a man. Some nights he looks like a tall shadow wearing the same white agbada they buried him in. His feet are turned backwards. His neck is long like a snake. His mouth is still full of red earth. He stands under the big Iroko tree in the middle of the village and calls your name with the voice of your dead mother, your dead wife, or your dead child. Come outside. I brought the yam you like. Open the door, the king has forgiven us. If your relic is broken or the tongue inside has started to rot, the bad things begin. You will see your small daughter standing in the moonlight, crying because she feels cold. You will hear your husband laughing just outside, calling you to see the new goat he bought. You will smell your mother's soup coming from the dark. The moment you open the door, even a little, the person you see smiles with too many teeth. Then the real Oro is there. But sometimes Oro does not need you to open the door. Sometimes he enters your head while you are still inside your house. He uses the soft voices of your dead loved ones. Life is not safe here anymore, they whisper. You are better off dead. Come and rest with us. The pain will stop. The voice sounds so sweet that some people believe it. They quietly take a hoe and start digging their own grave in the backyard. Some take a rope and hang themselves from the roof beam. But Oro does not let them die. Instead, he turns them into his disciples. These disciples look exactly like normal people. They wear the same clothes. They talk the same way. They smile and greet you in the daytime like nothing happened. You cannot tell them apart from your own brother, your own neighbor, your own wife. They walk around the village during the day like ordinary citizens. But at night they serve Oro. They can only enter your house if you invite them in. They cannot break the rule. So they smile and say, "My brother, please let me come inside for a minute. I have something important to tell you." If you say a yes and open the door, they step in. Then they are inside. The village is full of fear now. No one trusts anyone completely. Every knock at night makes your heart beat like the drum. One old woman, Mama Aduk, had a dream under the thin crescent moon. In the dream, the ancestors spoke clearly. A boy will be born under the crescent moon. When that boy takes his first breath, Oro's power will begin to break. The curse will start to die. The roads will remember the way out. But only if the boy lives. The prophecy spread quietly from house to house. Pregnant women began to hope. They rubbed their bellies and prayed for a boy born under the crescent moon. But the disciples heard the prophecy too. At night, when the drum sounded, they went to the anthill. They knelt before the tall shadow of Oro and whispered everything. Oro listened. His long neck turned slowly. His mouth full of red earth smiled. Then he gave one command to all his disciples. Find every pregnant woman in Igboro-Ekun. Kill them all. Kill the mothers. Kill the babies inside them. Do not let the boy of the crescent moon be born. Now the disciples walk among the people during the day, smiling like normal neighbors. But their eyes are watching every swollen belly. They are counting the pregnant women. They are waiting for the right moment. The drum is beating louder every night. Some relics have started to sweat blood. And in the quiet corners of the village, the pregnant women have started to disappear, one by one. No one knows who will be next. But the crescent moon is coming soon. And somewhere in the village, one unborn boy is already kicking inside his mother's belly. After Oro gave his terrible command to all his disciples, the whole village of Igboro-Ekun changed completely. The fear came slowly, like cold water that starts at your feet and slowly rises until it covers your head. During the day the village still tried to look normal. People still woke up early and went to their farms. Children still ran and played under the big Iroko tree in the middle of the village square. Women still sat outside their houses pounding yam and singing old songs. Men still greeted each other with ikaro and talked about the rain and the harvest. But something was different now. Every pregnant woman felt it. They felt eyes watching them all the time. Even when they were alone in their kitchen or inside their room, they could feel someone looking at their big belly. They started walking faster. They stopped going to the stream alone. They stayed close to their husbands and locked their doors even when the sun was shining bright. The disciples moved among the people like normal neighbors. They smiled. They greeted everyone. They asked questions like, "Sister, how is the pregnancy? When will the baby come? Is it a boy or a girl?" Their voices sounded sweet and caring, but their eyes were cold and empty. You could not tell who was a disciple and who was not. Your own brother could be one. Your own best friend could be one. Your own wife could be one. Nobody trusted anybody completely anymore. At sunset the drum started beating again, bum, bum, bum. It sounded louder than before. It sounded angrier. Some nights the ground shook a little each time the drum hit. More and more relics in the houses began to sweat blood. Families would check their clay pots in the morning and see the tongue inside turning black and wet. Some pots even cracked by themselves. People started whispering in low voices. Did you hear what happened to Mama Tolu? Did you see how the disciples were looking at the pregnant women? Is the boy of the crescent moon already in danger? The fear spread from house to house like fire in dry grass. No one said it out loud, but everyone knew Oro's disciples were hunting. They were counting every pregnant woman in the village. They were waiting for the right moment to strike. And the crescent moon was coming closer every night. One by one, the pregnant women began to disappear. It started with Mama Tolu. She was 8 months gone and her belly was very big. One afternoon she told her husband she was going to the stream to wash some clothes. She never came back. Her husband searched the whole village. He shouted her name until his voice became hoarse. The disciples joined the search. They walked with him, pretended to be worried, and said things like, "We will find her, don't worry." But when night came, they went to the anthill and whispered to Oro, "One is finished." The next one was Mama Shade. She was only 6 months pregnant. She was sleeping inside her house when her own husband, who had become a disciple without anyone knowing, sat beside her bed at night. He whispered softly in her ear while she slept, using the voice of her dead mother, "Life is too dangerous here, my daughter. You are better off dead. Come and rest with us." In the morning, the neighbors found Mama Shade hanging from the roof beam with a peaceful smile on her face. Her hands were still holding her belly. The elders called a meeting in the village square and said it was Oro's work. But everyone knew the truth now, the disciples were doing the killing. After these 2 deaths, the fear became too heavy. Pregnant women stopped going anywhere alone. They locked themselves inside their houses even during the day. They sat in dark rooms, rubbing their bellies and crying quietly. They prayed, "Please God, let it not be my turn next." Some husbands started sleeping with cutlasses beside their beds. Some families checked their relic pot 10 times a day. But no matter how careful they were, the disciples kept smiling and walking around the village like normal people. They would stop pregnant women on the road and ask in sweet voices, "Sister, how many months now? The baby is kicking well." And every time the drum beat at sunset, bum, 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 it sounded like it was counting down to the next killing. The crescent moon was getting bigger in the sky. And the disciples were still searching, still counting, but there was one pregnant woman the disciples had not found yet. Her name was Mama Kehinde. She was carrying the boy of the crescent moon. She did not know it, but the ancestors were watching over her and her unborn child. Mama Kehinde lived in a small house at the very edge of the village with her husband, Baba Kehinde. Baba Kehinde was a strong farmer who worked hard every day. He loved his wife more than anything. When the fear started spreading, he became like a lion. He said, "No one will touch you or our child. I will protect you with my life." Every single night, before the sun died, they checked their relic many times. They poured fresh chicken blood on the clay pot. They made sure the tongue inside was still dry. They prayed together and rubbed Mama Kehinde's big belly. One quiet night, while Mama Kehinde was sleeping, she had a powerful dream. An old woman with long white hair appeared to her. The old woman smiled gently and said, "Your son is the one the ancestors spoke about. He will be born under the crescent moon. Protect him with everything you have. The roads will open again because of him. But you must be strong. The danger is very close." When Mama Kehinde woke up, her heart was beating fast. She quickly told her husband everything. Baba Kehinde listened carefully, then held her hands. His voice was shaking a little, but he said, "Then we will fight. I will stay awake every night. I will watch the door. I will not sleep until the crescent moon comes and our son is born safely." From that night, Baba Kehinde kept a sharp cutlass beside their bed. He sat with his back against the door. He listened to every sound outside. Mama Kehinde stayed inside the house even during the day. She did not go to the farm. She did not go to the market. She only rubbed her belly and whispered to her unborn son, "You must live. You must break this curse for all of us." But the disciples were getting closer every day. They had counted all the pregnant women in the village, except one. They knew someone was missing from their list. They started asking questions in the village square. They smiled and said, "We have not seen Mama Kehinde for some days. Is she well? Is the baby kicking?" The fear around Mama Kehinde's house grew thicker. The drum at sunset now sounded like it was beating only for her. And the crescent moon was now only 3 nights away. Oro was becoming very angry. He could feel that the boy of the crescent moon was still alive inside Mama Kehinde's belly. He had not been able to find her yet. So he decided to use a different weapon. He started entering people's minds even when their relics were still strong. It began with small voices. Soft and sweet, like someone who loved you was sitting right beside you. A young man named Sigan was sitting inside his house one evening when he suddenly heard his dead father's voice, "My son, this life is too painful. The village is cursed. You are better off dead. Come outside and rest with me in peace." Sigan covered his ears and shouted, "Go away. You are not my father." But the voice kept coming, softer and sweeter. It entered his head like smoke. He started feeling tired of life. He started thinking maybe the voice was right. Some people began to quietly take hoes and start digging small holes in their backyards at night, even though they were not yet dead. They were preparing their own graves. Others took ropes and stared at the roof beams for long minutes, thinking about hanging themselves. One woman named Aya Busy opened her door in the middle of the night after hearing her dead daughter crying outside. The moment she invited the person in, a disciple stepped inside with a smile. By morning, Aya Busy had become one of them. The disciples were increasing in number. Every day, more normal-looking people joined Oro's side without anyone knowing. Baba Kehinde and Mama Kehinde were still fighting hard. Baba Kehinde stayed awake every night with his cutlass. But even he started hearing voices sometimes. His dead mother would whisper to him, "Your wife and child will die anyway. Why are you suffering? Open the door and let everything end." Mama Kehinde would hold her belly tight and pray loudly to drown the voices. But the voices were getting louder and stronger every night. The disciples knew they were getting closer to Mama Kehinde's house. They had started asking questions about her in the village. They smiled and said, "We have not seen her for many days. Is she safe? We want to help her." The drum at sunset now sounded like thunder. GBOM. GBOM. Bomb. Oro's tall shadow stood under the Iroko tree every night, waiting. The crescent moon was now only 2 nights away. And the attack on Mama Kehinde's house was about to begin. Tonight was the night before the crescent moon. The drum was beating so loud that the whole village could feel it inside their chest. GBOM. 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 It was no longer just a sound. It was like a warning that something terrible was about to happen. Inside their small house at the edge of the village, Baba Kehinde sat with his back pressed hard against the door. His eyes were red and heavy because he had not slept for many nights. In his right hand he held a sharp cutlass. Sweat was running down his face. Mama Kehinde sat on the mat in the corner, both hands holding her big belly. She was breathing fast and her face looked very scared. Suddenly, they heard footsteps outside. Soft at first, then closer. Then came the knocking. 3 slow knocks. "Sister Kehinde." "Baba Kehinde, it is us, your neighbors. Open the door. We heard you are in danger. We came to help and protect you." The voices sounded kind and familiar. They were people Mama Kehinde had grown up with, people she used to call brother and sister. But Baba Kehinde knew better. His hand tightened on the cutlass. "Do not answer," he whispered to his wife. At the same time, the soft voices started inside their heads again. This time they were much louder and sweeter. Mama Kehinde's dead mother whispered, "Open the door, my daughter. Life is too dangerous here. Come outside and rest with us. The pain will stop." Baba Kehinde heard his dead father saying, "You cannot win this fight, my son. Just open the door and let everything finish." Mama Kehinde began to cry. Her hands were shaking on her belly. Then something even worse happened. Mama Kehinde suddenly cried out in sharp pain. Her belly tightened hard. The baby was coming, right now, too early. The labor had started because of all the fear and the voices. At that exact moment, the knocking on the door turned into heavy banging. Bam! 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 The door began to shake. The disciples outside were no longer pretending to be friendly. They were trying to break the door down. The relic pot in the middle of the room started sweating thick blood. Small cracks appeared on the clay. The tongue inside began to move by itself. Baba Kehinde stood up slowly. His hand moved toward the door lock even though his mind was fighting with all its power. Mama Kehinde screamed in pain again as another contraction hit her. The voices in their heads became a loud song, "Open, open, open." Outside, the tall shadow of Oro stood under the Iroko tree, watching and smiling with his mouth full of red earth. The crescent moon was rising in the sky, and the door was about to open.
If you find this story interesting, don't forget to subscribe and drop your comments. I read every single one. And turn on your notification for the next part of the story.